My name is Michał Stęchły, and this is Noisy Intermediate Scale Podcast, a podcast where we'll have in-depth discussions about quantum computing industry, community, and research. Before we start, a couple of organizational notes. First, I am recording this introduction on May 24th, 2022, but we actually talked with Abu over 3 months ago in early February. I'm really sorry for this delay. Well, I can only say that my life has been pretty busy lately. Second, I wanted to thank Ethan Hansen, who has helped me with editing this recording. Without his help, it would probably be delayed another couple of months. If you haven't already, I strongly recommend you to check out his podcast Quantum Computing Now. You can find a link in the notes to this episode. With that being said, I wanted to invite you to listen to our conversation with Abuzer Yakaryilmaz. Hello, today I'm talking with Abuzer Yakaryilmaz.
Yes.
Okay, good. So Abu is the chairperson at QWorld and a researcher at the Center for Quantum Computer Science at the University of Latvia. He is known for his research on quantum automata and complexity theory. Since 2018, he has been actively working towards building a global and open quantum ecosystem, and most notably for starting the QWorld initiative. Welcome to the show. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me, having me. Also, congratulations for this podcast serial.
Thank you. So my first question is, what are you working on right now, and why do you think it's important?
Okay. Nowadays, we had our first, under QWorld, we had our first online graduate level course on quantum computing and programming. I tried to close it. I am a little late for this. We started with more than 200 students. We had 2 phases, first lecture phases, and then there were project phases. They need to do some term projects in a month. So all evaluations are done, etc. by now, but we just issue diplomas and also get some feedback form. And we also promise to continue with a project course after that. So probably in February I just try to close it and open the new course for the successful projects. This is one thing I am trying to close. In parallel, under QWorld, we have kind of 20 local groups, at least 20 I guess. We call them like Quantum Cousins, Q Cousins, and we are trying to organize a Q Spring 2022. And we plan to have several workshops, some talks, and some other events. We also just started its initial communications, so partially I'm also thinking its details. Just to try to initiate it, and I hope it will be very, very nice event, and we will try to touch many people from different countries, something like this.
Awesome. So, for those people who don't know QWorld, let me try to describe what's my perspective on this initiative, and please correct me if I got anything wrong. But from what I have seen so far, QWorld is this initiative that tries to popularize quantum computing, give people access to quantum computing, educational materials, workshops, trainings, interesting talks, and much more. And it started in, I would say, Eastern Europe, and now it's spreading throughout the world to other countries, other continents as well. And it's a pretty distributed initiative in the sense that there is not. It's not that this central QWorld coordinates everything, and you are basically the mastermind running the whole show. It's more that there are local groups that are kind of running their local initiatives, and you are just kind of helping with the coordination, making sure like all those local groups can succeed. So is this right, or am I missing like some important points?
It's more or less correct. I can add, we start really with education. And I think we were quite successful, especially this introductory level education. But we also start research. We already implemented 2 internship programs. They are online and summer. I think it's kind of unique also, the way of implementing it. We are kind of semi-professional, semi-like amateur, let's say. As you said, it's partially decentralized, partially we also try to keep some standards. But more or less you are right. But what I observed, if you ask QWorld, people under QWorld,
yes.
Usually each has a different definition already. I mean, each people already define QWorld probably differently. Of course, we have some written texts on the website.
Yes.
But if you ask people, we have a QWorld, for example, managing the QWorld. I am sure each will define in a different words. But more or less what you said, it's correct. It's global. It's an initiative. It indeed start from Latvia and then split, let's say, Central and Eastern Europe. Then now we have in different continents, and we also have new applications, new Q cousins. They are joining us. Let's say, it's in this way.
And so, how many countries do we have right now?
I think officially we announced 20.
Okay.
Usually 1 or 2 are like in the pipeline. They should prepare like their logo, website, etc. And then we announce at some point. We start with an untangling event, we call it, because we want to show at least one event, how we are operating, etc.
Yes.
We have a famous this Q Bronze workshops, like it's starting level. It's also kind of our welcoming event for people. It's quite a hands-on tutorial and very suitable to organize workshops. I think it's also exceeds 70 maybe. Soon we hope to hit maybe 100 Q Bronze. So there is a period. They applied. There are meetings. We have coordinators for Q Cousins.
Yes.
I don't know. Currently, probably 25 is in preparation, something like this.
Okay. That's a lot.
This year probably we will hit 30 very easily, thanks to interest. I mean, from different countries.
Sure.
Thanks to them.
So one thing for those who don't know, Q Cousins are those kind of children organizations under QWorld. So like every country has its own Q Cousin, which is like a kind of unit running.
They are local groups. Yes.
Local groups.
Yes. They are local groups. They operate locally usually. Also in workshops they use the language like used in that region. They are also kind of autonomous. I mean, they are their own, but of course we have some expectation because Q Cousin still is kind of maybe brand is not a good name, but kind of there should be some standards.
I guess in business you would call that franchise, but I'm not sure.
Franchise, branch, there are different terms.
So what's the story behind this the whole initiative, and how did you come up with the idea? How did it all get started?
I mean, it's a long story. I don't know how to make it short. Partially it's personal, partially, of course, many people joined, so it's also now their story. And day to day, more people are joining. It's becoming more than their story. This is one good thing, I guess, about QWorld. This is also, everybody has a different definition, I guess. Also, they see something and they come with this vision and try to also contribute from that vision. Technically, I mean, I used to have this idea to traveling and teaching. Like 6-7 years ago, I already like to travel, and I usually do traveling and research, like as a researcher. But I also had the interest this teaching, etc. Somewhat everything like one time all conditions like are there in 2018 in Latvia. We established some quantum software group there, but it wasn't maybe like my main direction, because in parallel I also had some other seminars like open technology, etc. Because I also had some interest on like this AI safety, etc. Okay. Then I noticed these Jupyter notebooks. And these Jupyter notebooks give you environment. You have like theories there. You can put a task. They can solve it. Outcome, you can immediately run it, etc. It really attracts me, because I already looking some way to teach it. Also, this quantum software development kits appears. Yes. Then usually teaching quantum computing is kind of advanced class. It was. But now I noticed that if there is programming, you can always go through the programming. Instead of giving theory, etc., you can really go slow, because you can really ask some tasks by programming. In this way, I designed this bronze tutorial, the first tutorial. I deliberately call it bronze because I know that there will be silver and gold. Gold is still not alive, but silver is already there. I also had some experience of workshopping. We had in Latvia Riga Tech Girls. I did some workshop with them, and I also learned some workshop, let's say, techniques or how to present it from them. And we did one workshop, and this bronze, we keep it very simple. We don't use any complex numbers, for example. We just focus on the concepts. Once I did with Riga Tech Girls, it was kind of women exclusive group, and then I immediately checked with high school students in Latvia again. Then by using Erasmus, I went to Szece in Poland. We had the agreement there. After these three, I had a small team already, and I sit with them. I said, okay, maybe we can go to international. This is going good. All happened like from September to some November. I see. In November already, I proposed this at least. I don't know, maybe they think it's a crazy idea. Then we prepare this QDrive project, because the idea is we will jump into car and just visit cities around, and we also deliberately focus on the East Europe, because West already has institutions. Already there are researchers, they are already teaching. Yes. Maybe it would be good to start like some place really need this. During QDrive, we also visit 8 countries. We fly to Turkey only. It was in May. And with car, we did, more than 10,000 kilometers and 11 workshops. Wow. Some like 80 days. We had a small QDrive team. Also, of course, all is supported from my faculty. I would like to thank to them. Also, my boss, Andris Ambainis. He's already famous in the world of quantum algorithms. But also he really supported this project. I can't imagine without his support and also support of my faculty, because we are kind of going away and just doing such stuff. Yes. Also, these hosts, currently most of them are Q cousins. During this time also we formulate this Q cousin idea. So like there can be local groups. They can also initiate there. By beginning of August we finished QDrive. By September we just put ideas a little further, and we make it like QWorld, and we put the name. I don't remember exactly when QWorld appears as a name. Sure. Q Cousins appears somewhere March or something in 2019. And we kind of tried to convince locals during QDrive. Thanks to 5 of them, 4 of them maybe, besides Q Latvia. they accept it. If they wouldn't accept, probably also it wouldn't started.
Yes.
And then of course, from that time it's always changing. Initial plans are never like the current plan, but this way or that way it become successful. Now QCousins is just kind of one department under QWorld. We also have like QEducation and QResearch. We start with education, so QEducation is quite strong department, but also QResearch maybe start a little behind, but now it's also, in my opinion, quite strong. There are already some research projects also going under QWorld. We already organized one pilot and one, let's say, normal internship program, and probably next internship program will be even much better. Okay. These are the details I remember.
Okay. So I will get back to this in a moment, because I'm curious about it. But before we do that, I wanted to ask you, so like, what's currently like your role in the QWorld? Because I understand that you started it, you know, in the beginning you were preparing the materials, teaching, driving, doing basically everything. And I'm wondering whether, you know, it still works that way, that you are doing all of that, or is it that now you focus more on the, I don't know, like, the organization is bigger, so perhaps there is more like administrative work to actually make it running, or how does it, like, what are your main responsibilities?
I mean, officially I call it like a chairperson. We also have we are officially registered like QWorld Association in Estonia. We have this virtual electronic ID, so we don't need to go Estonia, but we can still operate our association. Also, thanks to Estonia for this great idea, let's say. I think I was more active 2019, 2020. We also established a QBoard. It was also already 2019. I tried to pass more to QBoard starting from 2021. Currently, I don't know. Partially leading, partially coordinating. Sometimes I feel that I need to take more roles. So, for example, this QSpring, QEducation already had this idea, maybe some global QSilver workshop. I just make it maybe more like, let's make it QSpring and not only QSilver workshops, also maybe some other activities, something like this. I don't know. In my opinion, I am not the best person for managing, to be honest. I like the idea too much, but also this management is completely another story. And one thing, maybe kind of advantage, also maybe make it very hard. We don't have indeed money.
Yes.
We got some money, especially Unitary Fund, thanks to them. We got also from IBM Quantum and also Huawei, also thanks to them. But when you think such global, let's say international organization, we need lots of money. But we don't have money, so most of the work is volunteer based.
Yes.
99% maybe. Then it's hard to also like, people dedicate their like free time.
Yes.
So also you cannot be busing to them, just they come voluntarily. So you should find some balance. I don't know. I think QBoard members are generally good. As I observed, they are good doing this because they are also kind of managing some parts.
Yes.
For myself, I don't know. Maybe you should ask them. I am not like confidently say, I am very good or. But to be honest, at the beginning, all this Q drive, etc. I also missed this part. Now there are more bureaucracy.
Yes.
Even we trying to keep association is very small because we don't have power and money to operate it like more like really, really huge, like IEEE style something, etc. We don't have money for secretaries. I don't know some other daily life CEOs or CTO. There are many such titles.
Yes.
So I'm kind of not so happy with this part of bureaucracy. On the other hand, nobody else can do it because all people are busy, by the way.
Sure.
Most of us are also in their early career, like they are just finishing PhD, starting postdoc. So, sometimes I am asking some such tasks. Sometimes they are doing. Sometimes they also don't have time to do it. I don't know how to answer.
Okay.
I don't know. I think I gave some facts. Maybe just listeners can collect them and make an answer from this, or you can, as a moderator or host, tell me what I said.
I think that's good. So because it also maps to some experience I have with kind of being in this kind of volunteer based organization like Quantum Open Source Foundation or Q for Climate, where things are happening slowly because everyone is doing this out of their kind of free time, and whenever someone has more time, they just push it a little bit more forward, and that's it. And you just hope people will do what they say, but you can't force them. There's no way. So it's definitely tricky to kind of keep it all running and be successful. But what I wanted to stretch is the fact that for me it's absolutely amazing that you have this organization, which international organization running in 20 countries that is reaching thousands of people every year with their workshops and with their all the other initiatives, and it's all basically done by volunteer work in people's spare time without any kind of solid source of funding. Pulling that is amazing feat. And so one thing I wanted to ask is, apart from funding, which I guess is if you had millions of dollars, you would probably be able to kind of do much more. But funding is always an issue. But apart from that, what are your the biggest challenges that QWorld is facing right now?
I think, I should say that this volunteer base already a sense of QWorld, but only volunteered maybe wasn't the plan. At the beginning, I really thought we could attract more money from sponsors. One issue I had zero experience such. For example, now I observed it for example, in USA, etc. First they find the money, and then they, they first have idea, just approach the people, find the money, and then money is guaranteed, and they start to operate. We really just start I like to be volunteer part, because in this way, because QWorld is more about giving. And during this giving, you are also already getting experience. I think you are also getting, in my opinion.
Yes.
In my opinion, it's a great experience. I see our volunteers, our members, etc. I don't think you can buy such experience from anywhere. But still, I like them to come as a volunteer, because when money started, it's a different story. I like these people coming voluntarily and putting their time voluntarily, but after a time, we really need some, you need to solve, our volunteers, they are already good in preparing tutorials. They shouldn't maybe lose too much time for some coordinations on secretarial job, etc.
Yes.
Also, by the way, they are already proved themselves they are good. Maybe we can pay also for this tutorial. It's also not bad. They are already putting good time. And then our tutorials will be quicker, by the way. One challenging became this on the way. I was really optimistic. maybe approaching this, partnership or just this sponsors, it's also maybe another ability. If I criticize myself, maybe I wasn't the best person also to attract money in that way. But on the other hand, I don't know, this profit-based mind and you are non-profit, I don't know how to, I don't know, yeah. So we got something, at least it allow us to survive until now. This was the one challenge, and it's still a challenging. I don't know, maybe after this broadcast, I don't know, maybe some more can approach.
Please do. If anyone with money is listening, like absolutely, please support this initiative.
Unitary Fund was very welcome from the beginning. At the beginning, there was only Will, I guess. He immediately accepted, but yes. Unitary Fund is also small. They cannot provide really more resource.
Sure.
This is one challenging, and related challenge is we have already also experienced members and volunteers now. They can already doing great job. And if they have really more time exactly what they are doing, then we could really produce more, tutorial design, more, for example, we start now Q courses and maybe more Q courses. One does, maybe it's not disadvantage. This volunteer work also can be partial because people have their own life. They are coming and going. Partially it's good, but you should somewhat manage. Input should be always kind of be more than output. We can also call it kind of challenge. Sometimes we are more input than output. Sometimes these volunteers become very busy, disappeared. Maybe managing this is not easy. This is a kind of operational, let's say, task. So we expect these Q cousins to be operational, but it's also not that easy. Each also has their own, let's say, priorities. So we start with a workshop together. Of course, we're trying to show them, but it's also not enough. Maybe this Q sibling is kind of such activity. Give an opportunity, maybe under a single program, we can reach all of them at once. Train them all at once, and they can become more and more operational, more active. This is kind of challenging, but also we have kind of solution for this.
Sure.
I don't know. You ask some hard question. I guess I also don't have exact answer.
No. That's totally fine. Okay, so maybe then another tricky question is, where do you think QWorld had the biggest impact so far?
I think this Q cousins is very good. As an idea, it was very good, and as an implementation, I think more or less it is good. We expect them more active, of course, and I hope with such programs also we will manage it. Introductory level education, I think we are. Our tutorials are also open source; they are available. I think it was kind of very success. We really teach some material. We don't mention about complex numbers. We don't mention about Shor's algorithm, etc. But still, they need to work some 20 hours. When it was on site, they need to spend 3 days. And what was amazed me, people really stayed 3 days. They stayed when it was on site. They really also they didn't get bored, because there were always some tasks. Each notebook there were some tasks. So I think, this was good. I think online internships are, it's also very good, because there are too much demand now. Of course, these big companies, they can be selective. They reach more people. They can even offer, on site, they can offer money, they can go there, etc. Something like this. But some people kind of left behind, let's say, or they couldn't manage somewhat, and then somewhat we provide this, and they also see themselves. Maybe everybody wants quantum, but maybe after such internship, they will decide maybe it's not for them. Also, it can be helpful in both ways. We have now 3 active departments. I think each are Q Cousins, QResearch, QEducation.
Yes.
They are all success.
So do you have like a particularly like favorite success story of someone that just like started their adventure with quantum computing from one of your workshops, and now you see them actually being in the field and like doing some great research or some other stuff?
I think so. Some of our board members, I think, already maybe they were more classical computing, but this kind of give opportunity, and they are now good both in research and education. Together. During this Q course, even I think some I haven't collected like this complete feedback, but some just wrote some messages, and some like really say that how it was helpful them. Also doing some project, maybe give them some confidence. Also they can go further, etc.
Sure.
If you don't ask specific names, if I don't need to say it, I think there are some people. From locals, I also know. For example, when I visit Montenegro,
yes.
Now she is my master student. She will finish soon. She just decided to make master after workshop.
Whoa.
And she already working in a bank, 3 kids, married. She will soon defend her thesis. This is, I think, we have some people. We have Özlem in our QWorld. She was also a student of my advisor, but she did some classical theoretical computer science. We did this workshop in Turkey. It was like 4th workshop. Then she just switched to quantum. She is also one of the coordinator Q Turkey. She is one of the coordinator in QEducation. She's also doing research in quantum now. I have a PhD student, Maxim. She also kind of coming from classical side, probabilistic computation. We did thesis even on probabilistic computation. He was Q driver, and then he's also now working in some Andris Ambani's project on quantum. As far as I know, he's even teaching some lectures in China from online in quantum. I think he will even teaching this Kitayev's book. Not like easy one.
Okay.
I don't know. We also have. I can go one by one.
Okay. No.
Keyboard.
I think that's...
We have Adam. He was already in quantum, but I guess he's now also leading kind of QResearch, co-leading, and.
I see. So okay, I guess. The point is there are like plenty of examples, and like we could spend another hour.
All QWorld. Kind of all QWorld. There is me and Zoltan. We are kind of senior, but the rest are. Some maybe are already in quantum.
Yes.
But I assume that this QWorld and like its parts, kind of maybe make it wider. And some were really like classical, and then just maybe switch to quantum. And probably they will be like all students. They will also will have a lot of students.
Yeah.
But I should also emphasize that at the beginning I also told, maybe in some emails when I am sending, I also told them this QWorld will be like the new generations. You will grow with this in this decade. and then you will be the like kind of owner. I always also see myself like, until a point I am just appearing, but it will be really belong to you, because they started exactly this, people say the second quantum revolution. They are at the beginning of their careers, so they are like going together. And I hope they are also happy, like what under QWorld they are experiencing.
You mentioned a couple of times QEducation and QResearch.
Yes.
So I understand there are, let's say, like three main activities, right? So one is Q Cousins, who are running the workshops kind of in and like other things like in all the countries. Then there is QEducation and QResearch. So what is QEducation? What are some initiatives you are running under this umbrella? It's like online materials for people to like learn.
I thought we start this QBronze workshops. Later, of course, this QBronze now let's say belong to QEducation. Silver, the next step, yes. Complex numbers, Fourier transform, phase estimation, shorts, is prepared. It was it's developed under QWorld, by the way. It's maybe QBronze I started, but I mean this QSilver exactly by QResearch. Also, the material were too much, and then it also they cut it in two, and we also have a nickel, like bronze, silver also in between. We have nickel. So they are developing educational materials. I think some materials ongoing with annealing, some optimization. Okay. I think some introductory level. It will appear soon. They are designing, of course, these workshops. I mean, at the beginning it was on site, and we didn't think about online, but it's now kind of online. And they organized several global workshops. One summer school is also kind of combination of workshops. Also using Discord, using Canvas. So training. We also have training program. Yeah, I shouldn't miss it. They do training also, like under QEducation. We have training mentors, and this March we will train instructor for QSilver workshops. So it's quite challenging.
So this is training people who are already kind of in some of the Q Cousins organizations, so that they can teach people during the workshops. Okay.
But by default, the idea was this. I mean, from Q Cousins, but also some people coming without cousins, and we are also welcoming them.
Okay.
So I mean, they have these workshops, and then they will get some training to be instructor for the next, because we need people. I mean, there are more and more events. Maybe one of your previous question, many of our maybe workshop lead currently, maybe they didn't know anything about quantum before, and now they are teaching bronze or silver. I think maybe this is a much more concrete answer. And probably it will be in this way. Many people had no idea about quantum, and now maybe they are developing materials and also teaching them. Did I forget something? Material development, basically tutorials development, implementing it, also sharing with, for example, cousins, because we also want them to operate locally. All this we are doing globally, they should do locally, something like this, and also this training program.
I see. And this course you said you are teaching at the university?
Course is also under QEducation. Yes. Okay. This was the first course. Indeed, I plan to have this course in my faculty.
Okay.
But then there were some initiative under Europe, and we also have another coordinator, Gibran. He especially interested in some online designing some online master program, something. Then somewhat we decided to make my local course like a global course. we had little time for announcement, little time for preparation, so it was really kind of pilot program. And we didn't make announcement, but still I think we had 400 applications.
Oh.
Even it was graduate level, we accept some bachelor students, etc. But we keep standard as a graduate level. Probably it was quite harsh. Some of them, I mean, some really spent some 10 hours per week. Probably it wasn't their plan, and some didn't have this plan and they just drop out. Then we implemented. They also work 1 month for a term project. They work 11 weeks, like 10 hours, and they just got some grade. It's just 70%. It's not like full. Then they also must do a term project. 25 projects successfully finished, and plus we had some bottom line project. If they don't have any project, they should design a simulator, quantum simulator, like simple, but of course it requires a lot of programming. We also have some 10 projects in this way at the end, and this course are good. We probably will continue.
So the question regarding course, I understand this is a like academic course. I mean,
yes.
It is part of the master program, kind of.
It is a course in our PhD program. Yes.
So you can kind of get the point. And you said it's global. So, students from like any university can apply for this program and then get actually, points for their university, or only the ones where you have kind of some form of partnership, or like how does it work?
We told them from the beginning they should talk their locals because they are enrolling to that program, and
yes,
we will provide information for accreditation. It's accredited course in my faculty. It's a linked. In local name is different, but under QWorld name is different. If they really need some official document, our faculty will provide it.
Okay.
Otherwise, we will give some diploma with their grade. This is not like workshop diploma. And probably there will be some verification information, which topics, there was a project, etc. It's not like simply say Q course.
Yes.
It's up to their local. The amazing part, as I understand, we had some students from University of Latvia. I gave their grade directly. Gibran also had a course locally, but they follow this course and they also got their grade. I know that some got also officially in their local, but the rest, even some of them, even if I don't get any grade, they didn't regret any. In total, I think it's 150 hours because it's like this European credit system. It's like 6 credit. And it's around 160 something like academic. It was really graduate course. I also repeat this many times because I want the students to understand that if it's difficult also because of this. In QBronze we are very welcoming and it's much relaxed. But this time it was very strict. Deadlines were very strict. Even we didn't, I don't know, if it's not our fault something, we didn't change any deadlines. It was quite harsh also. But still they managed and I really appreciate them. And it seems there is such a need also and probably we will continue.
It sounds great. So basically, if anyone is listening and is a student in like some university where they don't really have any quantum computing courses, they might reach out to you, ask for help to be able to get some credits for this, and then they need to talk with their local university to make sure they can actually. This might be part of
our plan is just maybe planning is more advanced this time. And I don't know if there are enough applications. Maybe we can really focus only the students who will get really credit. But somewhat they must solve it locally. The easiest solution, some professor or instructor, I don't know, open a local course there it will be in their program, and they can just follow our course. It's also open. I mean, this instructor can also follow all course. It's not a problem. And then they can give our grade to in their local. Probably this looks the easiest solution. Otherwise, we cannot handle create talking with hundreds universities at the same time. I mean, I don't want to spend time with this. I prefer make better this Q course for the next year. I mean, we don't have this. I mean, usually this takes time. I know this all accreditation, etc. I mean, all institutes are doing this, but also there is a huge history, there is huge experience, and there are people working on it. We want to be quick, and people need this. So this would be probably easiest solution. But of course, we might be a little more positive to our Q cousins because they are our Q cousins.
Sure.
Maybe students from there can have always little more chance. Okay, after closing, we will talk and prepare a new strategy. And my guess, if they really manage locally, maybe we can go with them because we also want to be useful. I mean, they are spending 160 hours or maybe more for some of them. They should really get some credits also.
Sure.
Otherwise, we have Q Bronze and Q Silver. They can go and learn also from that workshops. Let's see. Yeah.
That's fair. And the last thing is this QResearch. So you mentioned the internship program a couple of times. Can you tell a little bit more about this part?
So the first one, we had some meeting, and one student just said, I think it's from Q Turkey. He said, "Okay, I am free in this summer. Why we don't have an internship program?" Then we decided to make pilot program 2 years ago. It was small. We had, I don't know, I should check statistics. I also open 24 interns and 12 successful projects. It was kind of pilot. Also, we feel little confident about this. And last year we had 26 successful projects. I think we start more than 200 interns, but 170 something finished them. Okay. The idea is it's online, 7 weeks. We first attract some mentors. They have a project, and then these interns are applied, and they show their interest, so we kind of match them. We expect them to work, at least meet once a week, and then at the end they must present their work. This year it was 2 days workshop, kind of small mini conference.
Yes.
And as far as I know, we also have some archive submission already from some of these projects. Nice. I was more active in the first internship. We even continued as a research project, and we also had a publication. I worked with Özlem there, and we had 2 students from Turkey, 1 student from Slovakia. And so we managed, for example, one publication also. It was implementing some quantum automata algorithms on real. As far as I observed, it was a nice experience for them. They started also. 2 are bachelor students, one was master student. I think it was a great experience for them also.
Right. It sounds a little bit similar to the mentorship program we're running at Quantum Open Source Foundation, and I guess I got a lot of positive feedback from that, and just people kind of finally being able to break through some this barrier between basic materials and actually doing something substantial and doing some maybe not super novel research, but at least being able to do something new and something interesting. So that's a great opportunity. And this is a good time to speak about something broader than the QWorld, which is quantum education in general. So you've been in this business for quite some time, and
Yes.
you probably have seen how this is changing, how the what how the needs of people are changing. Because 4 years ago there was almost no very little materials about quantum computing, apart from those very academic ones, Nielsen and Trunk is there
Yes.
forever, right? But this is not the easiest entry point.
No, it's not.
It's not. And I was wondering, so maybe first is, how do you see the quantum computing education has changed throughout the last 4 years or so?
In short, very positively. Also, I think this was aimed not only by QWorld. I think some other actors also had similar plan, and it was success. So in the past there were good books. It was easy for only maybe very advanced students. They are already ready for them. But now we have a chance, instead of reaching, because I remember these theory lectures, you have 3 people. When it is 5, you are happy. Oh, it's crowded already. Or 10, oh, amazing. We had seminars in theory, and then we see more people. Oh, what's going on? So now we have chance to reach hundreds and thousands. And I think these other actors are also trying to pushing in that direction. Overall, it's fine. Many people are doing many things, and I think it's all positive. What I like about us, it's really very slow. Not jumping again. You give a material, and second day they just say, "Oh, what is going on? What happened again?" Instead of this, we just make it slower. Probably, not only us, also the others, we should somewhat find a place in the curriculum. Quantum computing and programming, with programming it becomes much easier than it should be in the curriculums. And probably it will be, because there is huge pushing from different actors.
Yeah. You mean by curriculum, you mean university curriculum?
University curriculum also, yes. Our Q course is kind of contributing in this way. If you go, our Q course event page is you can access. We have a GitLab repo, you can access there. Hopefully we can also write a report and people will access it. So if somebody also do something similar, not this year, maybe after 3 years, so they will be able to see how to adapt it, etc. Or they can join our Q courses, and then they will open similar courses also in their locals. I don't know what. Overall, it's positive. It's good that there are more than one actors. There is still some gap. I think we should somewhat. This is what I like about our tutorials. It should be slow. There are again a lot of resources, but I'm not sure every students. It's good that there are a lot of tutorials or videos now, and again, advanced students get them very easily. Maybe some target are also advanced students first, but I still think that at least under QWorld we are trying to do a little slower. You show the door, maybe the first door. But until maybe going to somewhere, there is still a corridor. Just hold the hands and just walk a little more. Maybe you need to go one level up, so a little more patient. So, at least we are trying to do this.
And why do you think it's good to go slow?
Because most people wants to learn. But if you just jump to some advanced topic immediately, they don't know. Maybe they know matrix, but they use matrix MP library. They don't know really how it works.
Okay.
In bronze, we ask them, please write the matrix vector multiplication at least once. We want to be sure they know what is going on, because it's understand how transition it works, in my opinion. Maybe for advanced, sometimes it's difficult. I think there are many directions. Some are like this workshop style is very good, just reaching quickly, creating a, let's say, synergy. In our on-site workshop, I really always feel this. It was a great experience. It wasn't only about quantum. It wasn't only about learning something. I mean, they were kind of a lot of win at the end. It was a great experience. I observed it. In online case, it was limited, but this time we reach more people. This direction is very good. Second direction, I think, again, such Q course style, maybe make it a little formal. I think it's also another good direction. For going high school and elementary school, I think there are, I know, again, many ideas.
Yes.
But I think we should be a little more, find some other techniques. Maybe we cannot use the same same key for every door. I mean, but also there are actors for this. I know many people are going. There are also many initiatives. Some countries already preparing money for this. The difficult, I guess, to find money and right people in right time, but always there are some applications. It's another bureaucracy. You should know how to write projects. I don't know. I hope QWorld also will be successful to find right right programs also be supported. Yeah.
So actually, like one thing that came to my mind is that if someone would like to contribute to quantum computing, but they are not necessarily a very technical person, or they're just like start learning that, but they have good organizational skills, they could be of tremendous help in organizations such as QWorld, with just like helping to manage the kind of all the administrative stuff, because there's a lot of that, and that's, taking time from other people who, could focus more on teaching or preparing materials and so on. Yeah, because like I'm always in the back of my head, I'm always looking for ways for non-technical people with non-science background to actually contribute to quantum computing. And as a side note, one like great example is I don't know if you've ever met Rachel from Qubit by Qubit.
I think once, maybe, I don't know.
So she has she has background in political science, as far as I remember, and she's running this big organization that's helping to teach quantum computing, and she's doing a great job. So just for all the people who are not necessarily scientists or engineers in the audience, that there are ways for you to contribute and have actually a huge impact. So actually, one more question about the quantum computing education in general. What do you think is I wanted to ask, what are some things that we should be doing but we are not doing? But the truth is, you are in a position where you can see you see something is missing, you just start doing that as you with the QWorld, and you will just start another initiative that will fill that gap. But I'm curious, do you have any thoughts on some initiatives in quantum education where people are not doing good job, and why some initiatives are very ineffective at teaching people? What are some main problems that people trying to do teach other and promote quantum computing actually are not good at it? I mean, not personal experience, not personal examples, but have you seen examples of that? I don't know, one thing that comes to mind is going too fast, right? So trying to teach people too much at the same time. As you said, going slow is a better way.
I think it's about what is the aim. I mean, probably such, advanced topics also reach some people, because there are also many advanced people in their country. Maybe they don't have such opportunity, but they also now access to this. For unsuccessful, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't call it unsuccessful. There is always some people probably gaining it. But usually I think we observe the good ones. Maybe I can answer differently. So what is the gap? I think it's not something missing. I already see how it should be, but I mean, in 2019 or when we QWorld established, we already had all ideas, only we didn't have enough experience and otherwise we didn't have any problem with ideas. More or less we had a vision and how it can be, etc. But it's of course happening much slower. It's not like ideally thinking. And we are still trying to push this agenda in our resources. I told you, I mean, this challenging already. I give a very simple example. The main gap now, for example, Unitary Fund is looking some project to be funded. The gap is, for example, we are welcoming people with some QBronze workshop. And these people, if fit in his or her career, there is a way should go step by step until this funding part. Somewhere this part is missing. I mean, the internship you mentioned, the internship I mentioned, it's kind of filling this gap. This Q course, I think, is another step to close this gap. I think this gap is slowly closing. I think we just do this. As you said, you also ask somebody who has zero knowledge and now doing great. This is kind of maybe very simplified and a good example. For example, we welcoming really very good. And we just need to put a few more steps to make them confident enough to get some unitary grant. And you know that the next step also can be some startup and because current startup also kind of like previously experienced people, they were also ready. Not maybe there are a few starting from zero. Probably this decade, when we feel this gap more and more, then this was one of the expectation. At least personally, I know that it should be in this way. I mean, they should learn, but then what? They should, of course, do some project. And not everybody should do the research project anymore because it's changing. It's not like anymore academic. Some should do also software project. But when? Where they will do it? I mean, and also there is a huge demand. We all created quantum, come. But how? I mean, okay, welcome, but... not okay, I teach everything and it's not now your responsibility. I mean, this opportunity we should create more. There is a gap. If you're asking a gap, currently there is a gap. That doesn't mean it's really missing. We need some time, in my opinion. At least QWorld is trying to fill this gap. For example, this Q course starts with, let's say, concepts and then do a term project, but it's not enough. Now we also have a probably term project course, but in my opinion there should be one or two more some activity. Maybe one can be internship, one can be some research project, and then they feel confident enough and just go with a good Unitary Fund project, and then even they can go further and maybe they have their own startup or just got a position in some already good companies.
It reminded me of a sentence I've heard from one researcher that it's one idea of other activities that he said that on the university course he's teaching, he also has a couple of different open source libraries. So if a student actually makes a useful contribution to one of the open source libraries, he is just he's giving them a passing grade, because if they are able to understand what's happening there and contribute, that means they probably had all the knowledge they need.
Great way of simplification. I totally agree. I like such ideas. Yes.
And so you mentioned Unitary Fund a couple of times, and I wanted to ask about your experience with Unitary Fund. mainly to give people some idea of, how Unitary Fund operates from the perspective of actually person, receiving the money and making a grant to Unitary Fund. Making an application. So, could you tell how it looked like for you, and what are your experience? What are your advice for people who might want to apply to Unitary Fund?
I think we are not the main target of Unitary Fund, but on the other hand, Unitary Fund wants also operating open global ecosystem, quantum ecosystem. So basically, we kind of get support for the operational part because we don't produce any project, etc. But still, they believed us, and each year we had one grant, and each was, in my opinion, critical. So last time we got for this Q course for Unitary Fund. But the idea is this micro grant for doing some implementation. I guess it doesn't need to be research. Just you have some ideas and you want to. As I told you, this is a path kind of going some your own startup or similar position. So I think the idea is overall great. As far as I understand, it already existed also in kind of machine learning or something similar idea. Mm-hmm. But good that Wilzang already started it very early. Also, one good thing, he kind of investing time to reaching these big companies, mm-hmm. and then kind of becoming a bridge. Because as a maybe single person, you will not able to attract some big companies. But this Unitary Fund can bring this money to a pool, and then from there you can get it. I had a motto even first grant is by the Unitary Fund. It's your first grant. If you are in Quantum World, your first grant will be from the Unitary Fund because it's exactly this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I would like to thank to them really. It was the easiest. Let's say we don't need to convince them, or they don't expect maybe too much from us. They were very supportive. It was also their idea. I think it's also written somewhere to avoid several bureaucracies. Yeah, just you get your grant if you have a good idea, and also it looks reasonable. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're doing a great job. As a disclaimer, I also helping with some stuff with Unitary Fund, so I'm a little bit biased, but definitely great idea, great organization, and great execution.
Yes, what would be great, I guess, we somewhat fit Unitary Fund as exactly they expected. It would be great. Mm-hmm. Some people coming through, let's say, QWorld, several activities. Of course, they can also involve with some others. And then at the end, they maybe can get some Unitary Fund. Because I know that Unitary Fund is also looking for good ideas. I hope it can be kind of complement to each other.
Let's leave the educational part for now, and let's get into the research.
Yes.
So one of the topics you are particularly interested in when it comes to research is quantum finite automata.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask you about it because, it's not a very mainstream topic.
No.
And personally, I think that finite automatas are great tool for in classical world, right? They're very good concept that can help you understand some computer science, programming concepts very well. It's great concept to also play with. And I did some projects connected to that at the university, and I was wondering, what you're doing with the quantum automata and what's the difference? But let's first start for those people who don't know what's a classical finite automata.
Yes. It's better not to approach from a practical side because this automata is kind of, let's say, the most basic computational model Luckily, many computer science program has this introduction to theory of computation,
Yes.
and they start with finite automata because it's really very simple. You can easily, let's say, define what is an algorithm.
Yes.
Because of simplicity, you can also show many properties easily. So it's kind of, you have an input, you must read at once. Your memory is also fixed. If you have longer and longer inputs, nobody will give you extra memory. So what you can do, from the mid-50s, I think 60s, there is huge interest, and you can go any. I think maybe 99% of also theoretical computer scientists, they would definitely say that finite automata is one of their favorite topics. I heard this a lot. It's very simple and it's very beautiful. You can do also very simple proofs about computation theory. I used to give some public lectures before all starting this, and I had some students from high school students, also some students from PhD. They also we met some night and they gave their time, and I see them, they also loved, and some of them even say later, maybe this is one of the best lecture I ever experienced. So overall, they are the simplest computational model. They are very theoretical model indeed. There are definitely some applications, these regular expressions, etc. Yeah. But we shouldn't project it to implementation part. Basically, they are part of theoretical computer science. And in quantum case, there is in between also probabilistic automata. First, you generalize to probabilistic and then to quantum. Just if this automata worked based on quantum mechanical principle, how it will work. And in my opinion, it is the simplest case. You can check the power of interference. Because you don't have anything else. You just read the input once, you just apply all operators at once, and then at the end you must give the decision. That the only, in case of quantum automata, the only resource or only benefit is the interference. And all proofs, the advantages exactly because of the interference. And when you check the interference, the only difference between probabilistic and quantum, you have also minus transitions. That's it. You really simplify many topics, even this interference, and you just observe it much more clearly. So, for example, I can say in this way. But when you're implementing it, of course, error correcting codes doesn't work because your memory must be finite. For error correcting, as long as you have longer input, you must use more qubits, but it's not allowed by default. So, So all you just show theoretically. One nice thing I liked, especially, you can apply most of the complexity theory. Maybe people know this P versus MP problem. It's the central problem in complexity theory. You can also apply it, using advice, interactive proof systems, many other topics to finite automata. Maybe you have some open questions in higher level with more resource, but in automata usually you have answer. Like this is increasing power or not, this is equal or not. So basically we enjoyed mostly, during my thesis and later we show either classical and quantum are the same or quantum is better. Just several examples.
And how did you actually get interested into this topic of quantum?
Because of my advisor. He was a professor of artificial intelligence. Later, he just fascinated by theoretical computer science. He really loved it. He started to teach this introductory theory of computation. Then he interested in quantum, and he tried to find some door how to study quantum. And he thought, okay, automata is the simplest case. He had some master students. He tried to just force the doors how to enter the quantum field, and then I just appeared. So he also proposed this, and it worked in master level, and then we continue as a PhD. Latvia is also one of the strongest, also famous place for automata theory. I mean, Andris also had some work on it. Previously, there is Rusic Freyvalds. He was one of the famous, theoretician also, especially his work on probabilistic automata. So somewhat I also connected with Latvia in this way. But yeah, from 2018 with QWorld also, it's like little changing.
Okay, so I understand that if I simply take some simple classical automata, and then add some probability on top of that, and I guess the probability comes in the way of saying that I can get the output with like certain probability, right? So like if the conditions are met, then like with 75% I do A, and if like with 25% I do B, right? And then I can see how this system evolves. And then when I do quantum, I basically just say that the probabilities are written as like amplitudes and not as just the amplitude vectors and not as just the absolute numbers, so I can have this interference.
Yes.
And I guess that you actually don't even need, in order to model this, do you even need to bother about quantum circuits that much? Or you can just
not about,
do that all with
about circuits.
Amplitudes and like complex vectors, and then just kind of let your model run, right?
You have a state vector and just multiply it with matrices, that's it. I mean, when you trace it, it's very, very simple. It's not about circuit. Circuit is like little, you need more resource. I mean, in theoretical computer science, you have Turing machine, basically.
Yes.
And even in quantum computing, they start with Turing machine, but later circuit look more reasonable. And then this polynomial time is characterized. Also, they show equivalence between Turing machine and circuit. And from that time, they start to work with circuit. I mean, if you go to classical, there are still Turing machines, and automata is it's like very simplified version. You don't have to write, and you read once, that's it. Then it's an automata from Turing machine. Yeah, basically you have just vector and matrices and multiply it. Outcome is also probabilistic. I mean, there is no difference, but of course there are minuses. The interesting part is minus generalization already examined also in 60s. Probabilistic, they call it generalized automata. But they never thought to normalize like such vectors. They use it assigning each input some real value. They never thought we can map it between 0 and 1. Indeed, we also did this. I mean, we call it affine automata. Like it's almost like linear system, but at the end we make the L1 normalization instead of L2 normalization. Because in quantum you do L2 normalization. The system is, everything is like linear, but this L1 normalization makes it non-linear. And we show that it's more powerful than even quantum and probabilistic automata. Just it appeared with my colleague in Argentina, and later we also had series of papers. So it was very interesting experience for me, at least. Yeah.
Cool. And are there any? Because to be honest, I tried to read some of your papers, and I wouldn't say they're like the most entry-level materials into the topic. And I was wondering, are there any like small tutorials or blog posts that are, that could give like better introduction to this topic? If someone wanted to explore it more?
I think I have one paper, like Quantum Automata, a Modern Introduction. It's quite simple.
Okay.
And also I have a survey with Andris, but it's comprehensive and they should know some basics. I used to teach quantum, by the way, from automata as well. I mean, I never had a chance to make it lecture notes.
Mm-hmm.
I still have idea to do it in the future, but I don't have time for it because you start from finite automata, you do small proofs, and you can really use very simple proof techniques. You jump to probabilistic, stay there little, and then jump to quantum. I experienced this teaching. Also, people like it, but of course it's limited. You don't teach everything quantum, basically interference. Even from that course, we had a paper with an high school student. I mean, I asked once some small open question. He just worked on it, and then before graduating or after graduating, this paper is also published.
Oh, okay.
It was also a nice experience. That person also was one of the Q driver. He just finished 18 years old, and then he joined us during the Q drive, and yeah.
Nice. Okay, so if anyone listening is interested, we'll in the podcast notes we'll like put some links to these resources. So then we're coming to the end, and I wanted to ask: have you recently read any good books that you would like to recommend?
Yes. I took the notes for this. So as a novel, I read this Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky, and it's a great book. Yeah, I mean, if they want to go to deep insight of human being, then maybe they can check it. It's amazing that I mean, he had a plan to like make a series of books. This book is already 1,000 page. And it's kind of like first book, but anyway, I read this, The Gene, an Intimate History. It's kind of popular science, but there were enough science in my opinion. Siddhartha Mukherjee, it was also in my opinion a very good book. When you're working in computer science, later you notice that everything is information. Yes. And when you read this book, you also see all this connection. Everything is kind of information, because these DNAs and like our computer code, it's like make really big picture in the mind. And also one Turkish book I read, it's about global warming. It was by Levent Kurnaz, but it was also very fascinating because I noticed that I didn't know anything indeed. About global warming. I thought I know something, maybe some. He also say when people think global warming, they think some like this animals on the ice, etc. But this is not the the main story.
I see. Oh, great recommendations. Thank you. So, if anyone would like to find out more about you and what you're doing, what's the best place in the internet to do that? I think apart from QWorld website, which is
QWorld
kind of
website
obvious.
is the best. It's not about me. I mean, they should focus on QWorld, in my opinion.
Sure.
What is going on there? It's much more interesting. I mean, we have Discord. QWorld's Discord. I try to reply every messages, but there are usually some delay. I am in LinkedIn, but I am not active.
Sure.
I don't have time to just go really conversation. On Twitter, I just try to manage the tweets of QWorld. I couldn't manage my own Twitter. Email is one of the good, but there will be delay, and sometimes also my answer can be short. I don't know. QWorld, there are many people, many channels. Sure. They should focus to QWorld and find a place under there, maybe.
Okay. Thank you very much. It was pleasure talking with you. And, well, I wish you a good day.
Yeah, thank you very much having me. And good luck with the next episodes.
Thank you.